Is Ravenwing playable in 10th edition? All right, guys, welcome back. What we're really going to get into is if Ravenwing's playable, actually Dark Angels altogether. But before we do that, we want to pay some bills. YouTube was nice enough to offer me some memberships. So we do have 3 tiers. Real quick, we have 3 tiers. One's for $1. That would just help support the channel, and I really do appreciate that. The other one is for $5, which is the Beast Mode Beast Pass, where you get a chance to win one of these custom-made billboards. We'll put your name, your logo, pet, whatever it is, as long as it's PG on here. We'll play it on the table for about a month, for a month. It's not about for a month. Then I'll send you this terrain after that month is over, so you can have it for your own table. We also have a $10 membership, which is called the Monster Pass, and that will put you in the drawings to win patrol boxes or merch like what I have here on now. We also have hats available as well that will be coming in the store, which is not quite ready. It's a little bit behind, but we'll give you we'll MCP boxes, something of value that we will send out to you. This is my way of giving back and saying thank you and appreciating everything that you guys have done. So with all the bills being paid, before we do that, actually click the like, subscribe, join button to join up the membership part of it. And now, with all that being said, let's get into Dark Angels, and we'll see what's playable, what's not playable in 10th edition. And my buddy Nico's here,
What's going on, guys?
Who's been playing Dark Angels quite a bit. But before we cover anything on the tabletop, let's talk about the book, The Lion, The Return. Did you think GW did him justice? How'd you feel about the book?
I really liked the book, actually. It was like I just audiobooked it while painting, and I was actually painting the lion while listening to the lion. So that was pretty fun.
We'll see if we can get a good look at that. I'll see if I can zoom that in.
He's just here in spirit, guys.
Yeah, looks really good. We will have a bat rep coming up in the next few days after this is out. But yeah, the lion. So he did come back pretty nice. I did.
Yeah, I mean, the Forest Walk thing was a little bit interesting. I guess it was like their way of describing how the Watchers in the Dark work and how they just appear and disappear, that kind of thing. You know, finding fealty, finding the Emperor's shield. I think I forget the name of his pistol, but also how he found that in the book, and just like going through, you know, fighting the Fallen, and the Fallen that were good, the Fallen that were bad, how everything's misunderstood and like kind of like misrepresented. I thought it was a really cool book. I enjoyed it.
It was, and actually, being a Space Wolf player, I hated the Lion. There was no one else in the book that I hated more than the Lion because of his arrogance and fighting against Leman Russ. However, in the book, it turned me. Like, I actually think the Lion's a pretty cool character now, as they brought him back. More like the Knight in Shining Armor, and he's protecting
the people
and not worrying about the Imperium. And that kind of seems like he lost a little bit of the arrogance and more of the maturing part of it. Where I thought it was pretty cool that they did that. I liked the book. I don't hate the Lion as of right now, like I did going into this book.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really
as a Space Wolf player.
Well, Dark Angels have, in my opinion, like the best lore. So
that's a whole nother conversation, because
yeah,
the Space Wolves I think have a pretty good lore.
They do.
But again, I'm biased.
I know. I'm very biased towards Dark Angels. I started off as an Ultramarine player, and then you know, I just found the Dark Angels to be like that firstborn army that I thought was really cool, right? I mean, that's what Space Wolves are. They're a firstborn army that are really cool, right? You know, they have like all the cool lore for firstborn, right? I mean, Dark Angels are the same way, right? You know, and then I really liked how there were 3 ways to play them,
right?
So
we're gonna get into that, but first let's talk about the Lion narratively. I'm sorry, playably in the game.
Yeah, sure.
On the tabletop. So, what do you think so far? Have you got many games in with them? I know you did 9th edition, but what about 10th edition?
I really just have moved away from like that Deathwing playstyle, where you just kind of like, it's kind of like Death Guard. No offense, Death Guard players, but you just walk up on an objective and try to live. Right. Yeah. And the line really interacts well with that, because it's like, okay, charge my Terminators, line heroically intervenes, and I fight first and I kill you before you kill my Terminators. That's kind of like the whole. I feel like that's his best attribute. You know what I mean? As a defensive piece, more so than as to like go forward and kill things. I think that he is more so a defensive piece that you put on that middle objective and just try to hold.
Although playing him with shield with what are they called?
The Thunderhammers, Terminators, the Assault Terminators, or
even Terminators or
Deathwing Knights,
Shield Guard,
Blade Guard veterans,
Blade Guard vets, where he becomes a lone operative, so you can't shoot him.
Yeah, but that's with any infantry piece, right?
Yeah, but that's 3 up, 2 up, 3 up, or 2 up, 3 up. I mean, that's pretty. Hit 10 attacks.
No, yeah, I mean he's a very good defensive character. That's what I think he's best for. I think that if you're using him though, you probably put him next to Deathwing Knights because they have 4 wounds. You know,
yeah,
they're probably a lot better defensive piece.
Can you bring him in a brick of 10? Still?
Yeah, you can bring him in a brick of 10. It's definitely expensive, but you can do it.
Mark, what's the point cost?
That's like 406 or 70 points
for the 10.
For the 10 man, yeah.
And then the 3's 80 for.
Yeah, but those die. Those die fast.
380 for this.
I honestly don't think, with Devastating Wounds, and especially the change to Devastating Wounds, I don't think that he's as durable as you think he is. I think he can get targeted down pretty fast. And if you're putting only 3 Blade Guard next to him, all you have to do is kill one of those models to finally be able to target him.
Yeah.
So,
interesting.
He used to have that mortal wound barrier too, where you can use the Watcher in the Dark, or what is it? I forget the ability, but you would have a more mortal wound, feel no pain, and especially with the Devastating Wound change now.
Right.
I mean, Dark Angels kind of lose their ability to defend against that.
Gotcha. The abilities that he has, Primarch of the First.
Yep.
All secrets. That is
all secrets revealed.
12-inch, you get a CP. Right.
You mess with people's CP pretty much, and you make their stratagems cost more.
On that one.
Yeah.
Secrets revealed, and then you have marked. Can't read my rating. Exemplar. 6-inch +1 to hit melee.
Yep.
Not bad.
That's not bad.
And then no hiding from the Watchers. 6-inch 4-up film pain.
Against mortal wounds.
Against mortal wounds, which is pretty nice.
Well, what was what I normally put on him, because the +1 to hit really didn't help too often, especially with oaths. It's not really as effective. Right. It really isn't.
Anyway.
Yeah, and the Terminators like have their own abilities that give them +1 to hit all over the board.
Right.
So it was kind of like lost on that. You know what I mean? It was more so, hey, here's my big blob of Terminators that's going to go sit on an objective, and pretty much anything in the game, I'm going to get a 4-up Feel No Pain or 4-up invuln against you.
Yeah. The Emperor's Gift. These are extra abilities.
Sure.
Emperor's Shield.
Yep.
-1 to wounds on him. Right? Is that right? -1 to wound on him.
And then 6s to save are mortals back to you.
Yep. Yeah, that's pretty good too.
It'll give you one.
It's a defensive thing.
Normally it'll give you 1 mortal.
Because now in 10th edition, I'm finding that a lot of people are just throwing dice at things. So if I'm throwing dice at them, let's just say D6 shots 6 times from Dash Shroud Terminators, any 6 is the wound, I'm getting mortal wounds back to me.
No, any 6 is to save.
Oh, any 6 is you're saving.
Yeah. So you're going to take a mortal wound every time you shoot him with a large amount of fire.
Yeah. And then the other one was Dark Angel Bodyguard. 3 inches.
Just gives him the lone op.
Yeah. Which is actually, that's probably the most efficient ability that they have.
No, absolutely. And the same thing goes for the Talon Master. The Talon Master gets it too for vehicles. But it's not that he's not competitive. He's just not the most competitive thing you can take.
Right. But for fun, put him on the table, have fun with him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have to.
He is a Primarch.
You pretty much have to play him with Deathwing, I feel.
He is a Primarch. So the attachment abilities, let's get into that real quick. Attachment abilities for Dark Angels.
So it's Grim Resolve for the Unforgiven detachment. Just +1 to your battle shot or your objective control if you're battle shocked. I don't think it's the best because it's pretty hard to battle shock you.
Right. Unless
you're a Tyranids player. It's really even actually, the new Death Guard stuff might be the amount of mortars you take, and if you shoot 3 different units, it might get battle shocked somewhere, right?
Trying to get mortars.
Rolling dice is rolling dice. I mean, they're against AdMech too. I mean, you might battle shock my whole army turn 1, and I might want you to. So there's a couple matchups where it would be incredibly effective, maybe against demons as well. But
Yeah, -1.
Yeah,
Leadership.
but in that point, I'm rolling 7s. So, I play a lot of craps, man. You can roll 7s.
The going into the battle shock thing, it seems like enhancements and strats all revolve around that. It seems like Dark Angels all revolve around battle shock, whether I'm feeling it or you're feeling it.
Or around my models being dead.
True.
Because if I'm at half strength, it increases my abilities as well.
But dude, I'm trying to figure out how that worked in the lore, because that seems like just a Space Marine thing altogether. Whether or not it's Dark Angels, wolves, you know what I mean?
Yeah, kill me and I'll fight back harder.
Exactly. So I'm trying to, and I've read a lot of Dark Angel books. I was trying to pick up on the lore, how that would fill in. But
yeah, I don't really get that part of it. I guess the Unforgiven, that makes sense in the name, because what they're trying to do is fight for their forgiveness, right? And
right.
That makes sense, but not really the way that plays, in my opinion.
Exactly. So I guess they need something, right?
The Penitent of Remembrance is was originally what, I think in 8th edition it was a 5 of Feel No Pain, and in 9th it was having damage, and now it's a 6 up Feel No Pain, which goes to a 4 up if you're battle shocked. So that's can be very good. A 4 up Feel No Pain is insane.
Right. Exactly.
If you can get it off. I mean, that Canoptic Reanimator is enough of a pain in the butt. If you put that on Deathwing Terminators or, Deathwing Knights, they're tough. Yeah, they're tough. But it's really hard to get to that point, and you're kind of relying on luck to get to that point.
Right.
Even like the Heavenfall Blade, it's like that's actually a really good enhancement, I think, and you can put it on any character. It's not really. You can put it on a chaplain if you wanted to, but again, it requires you to be battle shock for it to be the best.
What is it?
It's +1 strength, +1 attack, +1 damage. Is it +1 damage? I can't remember.
Add 2 attack strength, and damage. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, it's really great if you're battle shocked, but again, it's requiring you to be battle shocked.
Right.
So
that's what it seems like. If you hurt this army, they get better. That's essentially what it is.
Yeah,
I mean, battle shock them, they get better. If we kill stuff, they get better.
If we were the Sisters of Battle, that would make sense, because at that point I'm just a martyr. But I'm not a martyr, so I don't really understand. The whole point of Space Marines is to live, right?
Right. Yeah.
Not die. So I don't know.
So we'll get into playstyles, because we mentioned playstyles. So the part of the beginning of this video, we talked about Ravenwing. Ravenwing, the way to play them. What's your preferred way of playing them?
I actually went from being an all Deathwing player to being an all Ravenwing player, and that was in 9th edition.
I mean, good job. So let's talk about the different styles of play, right?
Sure.
Ravenwing,
right?
Which is what kind of style?
So
those people who are new to 40K, new to Dark Angels, what's the idea behind Ravenwing?
Ravenwing is just this fast-moving, hard-hitting list, and the whole point of it is that you move up. At least in 9th edition, it was like, your pieces could double move, they could pregame move. You're pretty much getting 24-inch movement out of most of your items, or most of your pieces. And then you have a 24-inch range on all your guns, mostly. So it'd be, I move up and I clear 24 inches.
Right. What about 10th edition?
10th edition, I haven't really given them a chance, because just the rules, and it just seems like Stu Black has a personal vendetta against me, because he's just like, I'm going to retire your entire army. So,
dude, this is his opinion, not mine. If you're
it's his opinion too. I mean, they're retiring all your land speeders, they're retiring all your bikes, and they're retiring all your attack bikes.
But with that being said, though, I heard through the rumor mill that they're getting a whole line refresh. So they might be retiring old models for new models.
Sounds like a whole bunch of baloney.
Well, that's what the interwebs, that's what the whispers in the interwebs is saying.
So I think that, with the hit to Melta, they've kind of reduced that range from 24 to 18, which, it doesn't really affect Ravenwing as much, in the sense that I don't really care about my range, because I'm going to move as far as I want and shoot you.
Right.
Especially since when you run Ravenwing, I don't think you can run it in an Unforgiven. I think you have to run it in a Gladius, because you need that first turn I'm going to advance everything. I auto advance 6 inches, and then I'm going to shoot whatever I want and no penalty. So you take advantage of that, and that was Speed of the Raven from 9th edition. That was your ability anyways. And then at the end of 9th edition, you would just stay in Devastator Doctrine, and you would just have that additional movement, advance and shoot, everything that you wanted anyways. So that would also play into Jink. They removed Jink. So Jink doesn't exist anymore. So all my 4-up invulns, 5-up invulns, they're pretty much all gone. So my durability on the army is gone from 4-up invuln pretty much army-wide to a 5-up at best, on some units. So my durability is gone. My speed's still there. My shooting, my distance is gone. But the whole point of the army is I was supposed to clear everything and kill it all. So it still has that killing potential, but the strength reduction on Melta is also tough. So I have to find ways to remove the Melta, because my old list had 40 Meltas in it. Right. And it was just kind of instant death.
9th edition.
Yeah, I mean, people were like, "Oh, Votan's so hard." I'm like, I just kill it all.
Right.
So it's tough to find that high AP, high strength gun, because I don't even think las cannons are that effective.
One shot's tough because it's a hit or miss. You know what I mean? Like, obviously you're rolling one dice.
Yeah, but everything has cover now, so my AP is not even effective.
I just want to throw more dice at you, essentially.
Yeah, well, I found that like I'm going back to the old Dark Angel plasma. You know what I mean?
So what's the second play style?
I would say Green Wing. So Green Wing, in 9th edition, it was like, +1 to hit was our Grim Resolve chapter tactic. So you could take Green Wing, you don't move, and then you just get +1 to hit.
Right. So real quick, Raven Wing, more bikes.
All bikes, all speeders.
All bikes. Green Wing.
Primaris Infantry.
Okay. Stand still, +1 to hit. Do you still have +1 to hit?
No, but I think that the new rules for Dark Angels and their new character models, actually, there's a play style there that you could bring in, like Azrael and Hellblasters, the Apothecary Biologus, and the Aggressors. And
why though? Why Azrael and Hellblasters? What does Azrael bring to Hellblasters?
So I would still run this as an Unforgiven detachment, and the reason I would do this is because there's some stratagems that I really think tie into this, right? The one that we were talking about before, I think it's actually called Unforgiven Fury, is the lethal hits. So if you have Azrael, you give sustained hits, and then they also get lethal hits, and you pair them with Pen Hellblasters. And not only does he give them all 4-up invuln, but he also, gives them the sustained hits, and then they get the lethal hits, and then they, on their hazards test too, they get additional shots. So it's just kind of like this, like
kicking out
a ton of damage.
What's the cost roughly about the cost points on that?
200 and I think 20 for the Hellblasters, and then Azrael just got reduced down in points.
So that's 10 or
10. Yeah,
it's not bad.
No, it's not. 24-inch range too, strength 9, and then with your rerolls on wounds and hits, it's good. I mean, that's better than Desolators.
Yeah. Well,
so
especially now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Especially now. But I mean, and it's all AP3.
Right. And the hazardous shooting on death actually is pretty. At
least for Hellblasters, it just continues it along. And then, with the Apothecary Biologus and the Aggressors, I mean, you can really put out a ton of damage, and you can give. If you want to not take the Unforgiven detachment, that's all well and good too, because I think sustained hits on them is great. You can give that Apothecary Biologus, you can give him Bolter Discipline and put it on those Aggressors, and that's just
reroll constantly.
Yeah, you saw that at WTC, and that was mulching people.
Right.
Put that in a Land Raider, move it up the board, and just go burn.
Right, and that was what we were talking about earlier. We're just throwing dice.
Just weighted dice.
Yeah, just weighted dice. Second play style, or third play style,
is the Deathwing, which is again just the Death Guard way of just walking up on an objective. Terminators. Try to live.
Yeah. Kick out bolter fire.
Yeah.
Be very durable.
Yeah, and then it used to be a lot more of like wait for them to come to you. Mm-hmm. They punch you and realize that they just bounce, and then everything kind of uses that one piece to move up the board, and through charging and like pile in, consolidate, using the chaplain's ability for that extra 6-inch
Right.
for the pile in and consolidate.
This was 9th edition.
9th edition, you just, and a +2 to charge, I think, you would just kind of use that and slingshot 10 Terminators up the board.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist anymore.
And always only hitting on force, or being hit on force.
A transhuman, which they found a reason to take away.
Which is okay.
We had it for the entire 9th edition. It was when they gave the Space Wolf. They had to buff the Space Wolves, Dave, and give you guys free war gear. That Deathwing Terminators became ridiculous. But it's kind of, I think it was weird that instead of just saying that Deathwing Terminators had to pay for their war gear,
right,
and letting us keep our rules, they made it so that we just didn't get our rules anymore.
Dude, it was permanent transhuman all the time on 10 Terminators.
Yeah, it was
which was really good.
Fine.
It was really good.
You know how many times I got murdered with that, though?
But what's the playstyle now? Because that was 9th edition.
Well, the playstyle now is similar. I mean, it's just you're -1 damage with a feel no pain. So I guess it's not the same, but it's similar. I mean, I'm tougher to wound because I'm toughness 5. So a lot of armies are only wounding me on 3s.
So why not mix them? Why not play a mixed match?
You can play a mixed wing, absolutely.
With the Gladius, in 10th edition with Gladius, now you can really be.
Yeah, I mean that's
even with Unforgiven.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that the one thing I have to figure out is you have the really strong shooting in Azrael or that Apothecary Biologus. Or the Desolators are what they used to be, but there's that one shooting element, and I have to figure out through playtesting which one I want to take, right?
Yeah.
Sure. And then I have to figure out through playtesting which Ravenwing unit I want to take, because I think that a lot with like the leader's ability and what they're doing is they want you to attach a leader to a unit, and then that's your unit.
Yes, right.
So I just had to figure out what unit that's going to be from each wing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, hey, here's the Deathwing piece, here's the Ravenwing piece, here's the Greenwing piece, and then run them together.
Yeah. And I'm sure we're going to see some of this stuff come back once you get to Codex. I think there's going to be some.
There'll probably be some detachments that give you that.
I mean, we obviously see in the Tyranids new one where you got 4 different detachments or something. So we're going to see something like that, I think, in all of the Codexes.
Better be Stu Black. Better be.
Like Death Guard, I think the whole new stuff that just came out for Death Guard was in the Codex, and now they had to put it out in the Index. That's my guess. I don't know that for sure, but that's my guess.
There's too many Death Guard players whining.
Maybe. I'm not one of them.
I know.
All right, so let's move to underrated, overrated. What, in your opinion, and guys, if you disagree with Nico or agree with Nico, put in the comments. I'd love to hear, guys, you know how I feel about this. I want to hear from you guys on how you play these armies, not just how we play it, because sometimes you guys have good ideas.
I've been playing Thousand Suns too, guys. I haven't really been playing my Ravenwing or Deathwing.
What was I going to say? Yeah, overrated, underrated. Right now, what do you think is the most underrated model when you look at the Index? Give me about, I don't know, a couple of them.
I think that I guess it's kind of like Space Marines too. It could be included in this because they give you like Dark Angel units. If we're just doing Dark Angel units, I would say the most underrated
unit. We're gonna stick with Dark Angel units.
Okay.
Not. I mean, Hellblasters with Azrael are good, and we know that's pretty powerful. But just Dark Angel stuff. Like, if you're gonna take a Hellblaster unit, put them with a character, that's okay. But if you're just telling me like Desolators, well, that's good for everybody.
Sure.
Does that make sense? So, what do you think, in your opinion, is more Dark Angels related, where you can't get that flavor in somebody else's Space Marine unit?
I would say that Samuel is probably one of my favorite pieces, and I think he's underrated.
Okay.
Advance and charge. Put him with some Black Knights, 6 Black Knights, and charge in.
Black Knights are what?
The Plasma Talon bikes. They have a 5 Binvol and move 20 inches with advance and charge. So, I mean, that gives you a 32-inch threat range. Yeah. That's fun. And they have the anti-vehicle, anti-monster keyword on their melee. So it's just kind of one of those things that it's kind of carry from 9th.
Right.
I used to run them in 9-mans, and I would just, if I went first, there was a stratagem that's called the hunt, and I would go, all right, I'm moving 14 inches, and then
Right.
in my turn, which is first turn, I'm going to move another 14 inches, and I'm going to charge something.
Right. Right.
There's no hiding. There's no anything.
Right.
I'm in, and I'm killing it. And then I have a melt-a-bomb strat, so I just blow that up on a vehicle. And normally I would go in first turn and just touch something.
Right.
And that was my only goal. I didn't even really care if I killed it. I just wanted to stop you from shooting me back.
Right.
And then the rest of my list would shoot everything else.
How playable though is that next?
It is. It's the same exact
thing.
way, in
Same
my
thing.
opinion. With that advance and charge,
Right.
I mean, Gladius has that ability to do it, but I want to be in Devastator Doctrine. So just having that unit that can be in Devastator Doctrine and get that advance and charge at the same time, I
Right.
think is key to the way that Ravenwing plays. Because I want that 32-inch threat range of charge range that it's like, no matter where you are on the board, I'm coming for you.
And you're building a list around that.
Yes.
Or a main, that's like the main component of your
Absolutely, yeah.
and then building around it.
Well, it used to be 3 units of 3 attack bikes, and now with like them going away with the changes to Melta, I'm going back to Plasma, I think. So,
What about overrated?
God, the Talon Master used to be my favorite thing. That thing would just mulch, and with the
Right.
Arbiter's Gaze, and now they've completely nerfed it, and I think that the only thing that's good about it is it removes cover, but
And what's the point on it? You know.
it's 105 now. It used to be 165. That was my favorite thing, and they took it away, and I'm sad about it.
Thank you, Steve.
Well, his entire the land speeder is being retired, so he's not even going to be there.
Underrated, overrated. What I say it was.
I also think that
It's overrated.
Mr. Lion here,
It's overrated.
he's entirely overrated.
Yeah, I don't. Obviously, this is you don't like him, but
I haven't liked his rules ever.
I mean, you really haven't.
No,
You really haven't, guys. Comment on that because I think
I refused to buy the piece until it came out in its own box, and then I bought it on eBay for like half the price, painted it, and now he's going to sit on my shelf forever, and that's it.
We have to see him at least one time here.
When I finish painting all my Terminators, I will bring him on.
I think we're running low on time, so just what your all-around take of it. We didn't get really into the strats yet, guys. We're just gonna. We do have some good strats, good enhancements. I think in the dark in the Unforgiven task force part of it. I guess we can hit on this real quick. Hammer Heavenfall, you said was pretty good. Anything else you think is a penance of remembrance? Anything?
I think that all of them have play. Stubborn Tenacity has play. I think that all of their enhancements, all of their stratagems have play.
Right.
I just think that a lot of them are super niche, especially with the battle shocking being involved.
In your opinion, are they? Would you rather take a Gladius task force over the?
Today I'm taking Gladius, so yeah, I'd say that Gladius is the way to run them at the moment.
Okay, and then I think, and then we talked about strats just now, and anything real quick on the data slate that will affect you.
Well, that's why I really am kind of excited to play Ravenwing today, because I think that with the reduction of price of the Talon Master, of Samuel, of the Black Knights, Command Squads, even the Outriders went down. I think that it kind of allowed me to take enough to be playable and to play the mission and also focus on killing.
Right.
I think that there has to be a balance in a list between what plays the mission and what kills. And I think that the reduction has allowed you to do that with at least Ravenwing.
Right.
I don't know so much with the Dark Angel Terminators because it's really hard to play the mission with foot slogging Terminators. And it's pretty easy to screen out 5 Terminators because it's a pretty big screen.
Right. As a Death Guard player, I know how that is.
Exactly. So I mean, obviously there's other things in the Space Marine decks you can take, but
right.
My favorite part about being a Dark Angel player is like building a list that is lore specific.
Right, exactly.
Like that's why Ravenwing is like one of my favorite armies because it's like I'm all bikes, all land speeders.
Right.
I will refuse to take anything else with it because that's how I want to play it.
In closing this all up, 9th edition play style, a little bit different than 10th edition. Bringing the game's a little different. How do you feel about Dark Angels in 10th edition over Dark Angels in 9th edition? Because we obviously it's a different game, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're playing more about the mission. Everything gets covered. Got more terrain on the board. So is 10th edition. I know that you're playing Thousand Suns at the moment. Kind of going into 10th edition weren't too hot on it. If I'm remembering correctly. Have you softened to the idea of more of a 10th edition Raven or Dark Angels list over the 9th edition?
I'm not there yet.
Yeah, still
not
happy with it.
Still not happy with it.
Just the gameplay, the game style. Just don't have enough. Why aren't you happy with it?
I just don't think
enough. You're not lore specific. I mean, we still are in index phases.
So. Dude, they retire my army. They remove Jink. Like removing Jink was the entire list. I mean that removing Space Marines are stereotypically, one of those armies where you're like, I think I'm durable, right. And then you step a foot out and then you're like gone. Right. And it's like, okay, I'm not durable. My power armor isn't that good.
Right,
so especially with bikes, it's kind of the same way, right?
Yeah.
But this game requires you to step out of cover.
Yeah, for sure.
It does.
But there is more cover on the board.
There's more cover, but it's still
everything has cover. I mean, literally everything has cover.
Yeah, but still, what is that, a 3-up? I don't know. I think that their intention to make the game less killy didn't really make the game less killy. And at least with my Thousand Suns, I know that I can just murder people.
Right.
Really easily.
And that'll be we'll have you on talk about that as well.
But from a Dark Angel standpoint, now they just changed the Devastating Wounds interaction. So my army-wide Unforgiven thing was I could, especially with the Lion, was, the Watchers in the Dark have a 4-up Feel No Pain against Mortal Wounds. Well, Devastating Wounds just ignores all that now.
Right.
So even any built-in durability that Deathwing used to have is now gone.
Right.
So I don't really know. They're like, hey, we'll reduce your points, but at the same time, we're going to make it way easier to kill you, and you already don't have durability. So I don't know.
The Devastating Wound change, though.
I understand that it had to happen. I understand that it had to happen. I understand the interaction and why it happened.
Right.
But there were 2 armies that I was afraid to see as a Thousand Suns player. One of them was Dark Angels with the Unforgiven detachment, all Deathwing Terminators, because I'm not moving it.
Right.
Even if I, the Armor of Contempt stratagem, the cover, and then the 4-up Feel No Pain against Mortals, I'm not moving it.
Right.
The same thing with Custodes. There was no way I was going to kill them. But you just removed all the good things of the army.
Yeah, like I said, as of now.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens when we get codexes.
We don't like you, Stu Black.
Why ain't someone Stu Black? I love that dude.
All right, I missed you.
All right, brother. We'll talk to you. Thanks for coming on. We are going to have a bat rep. It will be up probably maybe in the next few days. But yeah, as always, guys, thanks for watching. God bless. Peace out.
See ya.